So I get asked every so often why I'm so negative, right? Why am I so negative? Then I respond, okay, in what way am I negative? And oftentimes it's like they'll say, you're always questioning everything and there's always like a conspiracy behind everything. And I said, there's a conspiracy behind everything. You know what I mean? Like, why shouldn't I question everything? I mean, who's actually telling the story? His story, right? It's called his story. His story is being told by him or her. So because he's telling a story, that doesn't necessarily mean I have to believe the story. You know what I'm saying? Just like even with the so-called moon landing, right? When I tell people that I don't believe we went to the moon, they say, oh, here we go. This dude is a conspiracy theorist. I mean, it's only a theory if it's not factual, right? Now, I mean, how can I say they went to the moon when I wasn't there? How can I say the earth is round when I haven't seen the earth like from outer space, according to them, right? So why should I believe someone because they tell me in a history book that they went to the moon in, I guess in the 60s, right? Probably the 70s as well. I think they went twice according to them. And I'm saying to myself, okay, so they went to the moon in the 60s with the technology that was back then, right? You're telling me with the technology back then, they're able to go to another planet, but they can't go back with the technology we have today? So we have a cell phone where we can actually watch videos. We could talk to someone from another country, FaceTime, right? Someone from another country. And the technology they had back then, shit, they didn't even have satellites, right? Because the first satellite that actually went into space, according to them, was Sputnik from Russia. So they didn't have satellite back then to communicate, you know, from the fucking moon to Earth. And you want me to believe that they actually went from Earth to the moon and was able to communicate with astronaut on another planet? Just really think about the question. You want me to believe that they went to the moon and they was able to communicate from the moon to Earth, vice versa, from Earth to the moon without satellite? Because the only satellite that they alleged that was launched was Sputnik, right? The Russians. They was the first one to launch a satellite. So how the fuck were they communicating? You tell me they have long range radios. Listen, in order for you, for example, right, I'm a survivalist and I was looking into buying a satellite cell phone, right? A satellite cell phone, a long range satellite cell phone. You have to have a service with it, right? And the reason why I'm considering it, because should the power go out, I still want to be able to have access to my family, right? But it's very costly, it's very expensive to get a so-called satellite phone. So in order for you to communicate, let's say, for example, I'm in the wilderness. Let's say I'm in Africa, the continent of Africa, and one of the countries in Africa. And I wanted to communicate to someone else in another country on the continent, because a lot of y'all believe Africa is a country and shit, goofies and shit, right? But I'm on the continent of Africa, and I want to communicate from the country that I'm in Africa. Let's say I'm in Nairobi, and I want to communicate in Kenya. I would need a satellite phone if I didn't have a cell phone, right? If, let's say, the power went out and I wasn't able to access the cell phone, I would need a satellite phone to connect. Just to connect from, you know, Zimbabwe to Nairobi. Is that what I said? So how the fuck did they communicate from the Earth to the moon without a satellite phone, without the satellite technology? Just think about this shit. Then when you watch a so-called moon landing, right? The videos, you see the flag. They said there's no atmosphere on the moon, but you see the flag floating and shit as if there's breeze. You know what I'm saying? You see these people walking goofy on the so-called surface of the Earth. Then you see shadow being cast. From what? Then if you look beyond, the astronaut that's walking, you don't see any stars. You don't see any fucking stars. You in space and you don't see stars. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. This shit don't make no sense. And this is why we are so dumbed down by these evil entities calling themselves world leaders. We go along to get along. We believe everything they tell us because the white man said it. It's got to be true. Says who? You know, you go to church and shit, pastor tell you some dude came, the son of God came from God, and he's a 3-in-1, the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, and he performed miracles and shit in Revelation, prophecies. And when you go back to the Old Testament, you can see all the prophecies, every last one of them. They might have, you know, put a little Hollywood twist on the shit, but all of the prophecy that you read in Revelation, right? Guess what? It's in the book of Maccabees. It's in the Old Testament book of Daniels. You know what I'm saying? And you want me to believe these devils that have been lying to us, that gave our man syphilis, right? The Tuskegee Airmen, y'all heard about them. They literally gave him this disease and watched them die. You know what I mean? You want me to trust these fucking hybrids? It will never happen. So don't come telling me that, oh, I'm very negative, or I'm a conspiracy theorist, or whatever the fuck. Yes, I am. I am a conspiracy theorist. And I'll continue to be negative because this world is a negative place to live amongst these hybrids. We never went to the goddamn moon. Never. And the fucking earth is not round. How the fuck how can you bend water on a round globe? How can a plane leave from BWI Airport in Baltimore and land in Jamaica on a spinning globe, spinning 1,000 miles an hour, family? They said the earth is spinning 1,000 miles an hour. On a spinning globe, land perfectly from leaving out of BWI Airport in Baltimore, where I'm at, right, to Jamaica, where I'm from, perfectly on a spinning globe, and don't fall off the runway while they're landing. Look at the trees. Look at the trees. Look at the trees. The trees is not even moving. Well, it's moving a little bit, right? But if you're spinning 1,000 miles an hour, shouldn't these trees be fly? Shouldn't everybody be flown off the fucking earth? Spending 1,000 miles an hour? And that's where y'all say, well, that's where gravity comes in. No, it's bullshit. You can't bend train tracks. You can't bend water. Me and my daughter did an experiment, like this was like maybe 4 years ago now, right? Where we showed y'all, I had a tennis ball, I put a string through it, I spin the damn tennis ball, and we was trying to pour water on the fucking spinning globe, and the shit was flying off. Come on, man. Y'all gotta use your common sense. Please, please, family. We about to go into another transition. Do not bring the idiotic shit that was taught to us by these wicked fucking hybrids, right? That's ruling the world, and bringing it into the next, you know what I'm saying, dispensation. Please do not do that. You know what I'm saying? It's time for us to wake up. Everything that was told to us is lies. If they say it enough times and you see it repetitively, you start to believe the shit. How the fuck how they know the earth was round back in the 1300s or the 12th centuries or whatever, without going to the fucking moon or going into space to see the circumference of the earth? How could they make a round globe back then? If you Google when the globe Earth was constructed or created, or when they first discovered that the Earth was round, you'll see how long ago it was. How were they able to determine? How the fuck can they make these maps of the Earth back then, right? I'm talking about maps from like the 1500s and the fucking way before that. They're making maps of the Earth. How did they do that without going into space to see the earth or launching satellites? Just think about some of this shit. And you know, and some of these maps are sometimes accurate. Why? Because you have alien technology, family. You have technology from higher beings. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. All these airplanes and fucking jets and shit, supersonic jets, they got that shit from alien technology. They re-engineer this shit. You know what I'm saying? They literally copy it. Like, you know how these devils don't have no originality, so they copy everything. They copy the Old Testament, making a New Testament. They copy our history. They stole our history, saying that they are the Egyptians and shit. How the fuck can they survive in Africa without sunscreen lotion back then? I don't know. You know, they say you should use olive oil. Okay, why you ain't using olive oil now? Why y'all don't have the technology now to go back to the moon? Y'all have never been back since this fucking 60s, 70s, right? Why? The technology is far surpassed the technology I had back in the days. And how did they communicate with these astronauts without fucking satellite phones and, you know, satellite technology? How did they do it? How did they do it? And how did they land? I got another question for you. How did they land back on the earth on a spinning globe, you know, in a precise area? The earth spins 1,000 miles an hour. How the fuck did they land back on the spinning globe? Think about it, family. We've been lied to. So yes, I will continue to be negative. Yes, I will continue to be a so-called conspiracy theorist, because guess what? Everything in life is a conspiracy when it comes to the human race. Shalom.